call this meeting to order at 7:33. We'll call the roll.
Supervisor Gail Kincher Eisenberg.
Here.
Trustee Kate Sazelle McNally.
Here.
Trustee Mark Peterson.
Here.
Trustee Stephen Mosier.
Here.
Trustee Jessica Tucker.
Here.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And is our assessor online with us?
Not yet.
Okay.
So
Administrator and Deputy Clerk Hopkins.
here.
Madam Supervisor, we have a quorum for business.
Wonderful. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Very exciting that we are here with our new board members. Welcome to Jessica and Mark, and welcome back. Stefan and Kate.
Yeah.
So we supervisors report. I of course didn't write everything down, so things will come to me throughout the day. But the most important thing is we had our local elected officials orientation in this room. I think we had about 12 to 15 people from various entities across the township, many of whom who had not been here before. Learned about what our services are, how we work with the various entities, and then we did a tour of the pantry. That sort of was very successful. Certainly have already started engaging with many of those governments now on how we can best work together to support one another. This all came out of our decennial report process. We learned that many governments do not know what we do and don't even know how we are currently working together. And we are going to the July meeting of the Wilmette Park Board to discuss, the ways that we do work together, because that was kind of the impetus program. So it was wonderful. I'm hoping to do it again, maybe do it every, twice a year, because not everybody could make it. This one was during the day as a breakfast, so maybe do one as an evening activity, just to make sure we're hitting everybody. There were other things that were in the decennial about outreach to the other governments, so we're hoping to continue that process as we start this new year of new governments.
I was just gonna say, to that end, I've heard from two different presidents or executive directors of some of the different agency, or not agencies, but governmental groups that attended or wanted to attend. And they asked that they also be included because they got a little jealous that we were not. The Winnetka Northfield Public Library District and the Village of Winnetka.
So a lot of times, if we didn't have everybody's trustees' emails, we sent it to the administrator and then said, please send us on, sometimes it does not happen.
That's okay.
Was it primarily village officials?
We had some libraries, some park districts, some village, it was great.
Mix.
All from across the township, yep. So people who would not normally have met each other, so we also just had schmooze period. Yeah, it was great. The next biggest thing was we got our budget allocation.
I was gonna ask you that.
So,
Great, great
we
news.
thank you to our state senator Laura Fine, who put the allocation request in the capital funding bill, $100,000 from the Build Illinois Bond Fund of the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, to work on the pantry, which is very exciting because it's and we have had amazing volunteers in and out helping to move things. So I know, right? We're both having issues.
James is trying to get in, and I'm assuming that Jan is too.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to help them
Madam
figure this out.
Supervisor,
Yes.
I should say it really helps that Senator Fine is a former township clerk and that she understands things like a food pantry.
She does. Yes, she was Northfield clerk prior to running for legislature. We also received a grant from the WLC, which is the Women's Library Club of Glencoe. Their clubhouse is Writers Theater. They own the land under Writers Theater, and they rent it to Writers Theater for nothing. Yeah, right. So then they didn't get to use it as their clubhouse and have activities there, right? So they had a lovely grantee reception earlier this week. Many of our agencies were there, because we know that it takes a township, if you will, to support our mental health, our disabled, our lower income individuals in this community. But they did give us a grant so we could provide hygiene kits to our clients in the pantry. And they did this last year as well. So they're pre-packed shampoo, soaps, things like that. We get from Jewel on a discount and we put them together and everybody gets their hygiene products because we cannot use SNAP or EBT on non-food items other than menstrual products, which is new. So I think a year or two old, yeah. Yes, any questions on any of that?
Are the hygiene kits pre-packaged or do we, okay,
We will be packaging. I think
Okay.
that's what we did last year.
I was gonna say, is
I-
that something that?
I remember
we
going
could
with
have
Brian.
Volunteers do,
Yes.
and you know, some of our scout groups or summer volunteers, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes. We also had our ICC meeting, the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee for Wilmette. I'd love to have one for Winnetka and for Glencoe. I didn't make it up though. So, but I am chairing it this year. We are working on civility, and ways to improve civility across the village. So we've now separated into subcommittees similar to how we did the decennial. And we'll come back with recommendations to the full committee, which then will have to go back to the various boards for approval, right? So get excited for that. All right. Otherwise. I think that's everything. I'm sure stuff will come up as I remember. But otherwise, no other additional questions. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes from May 13th, 2025. And I realize we just received these. Has everybody had a moment to review?
No,
Okay. So unfortunately, with the two members who were not here, who were here, have not had a moment to review. So I am gonna ask for a motion to table.
So,
second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Tabled. Please try to get them in by the Thursday before Jerome.
That will
Thank you.
challenge it very true.
And make use of the civic clerk. It makes it so much easier.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be a good thing, huh?
All right, clerk's report.
So I have three things to talk about. One, Gail and I attended a very interesting, the Township Attorney Seminar. Again, all sorts of issues that, come up. So that was very interesting, and it was nice to see Gail there, as well as network with all these other township people. The speaker was so interesting, was the state senator. So she's standing there and, I didn't expect to field questions from actual township people.
I don't
And
think
she
she
was
did
very
either.
polite, but she was stunned.
Mark, you was there.
yeah, I was, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark, you
Yeah,
were there too.
that's my point.
Mark, I'm sorry.
We sat
But
next
that
to
was
each other,
something.
that's what he forgets.
Mark,
So many
it was fascinating though to watch, and it just indicates, one of the issues that came up was Evanston and how the fraudulent depiction that they save money, which is gonna be, you'll hear from one of the candidates in an upcoming election, et cetera. And I think it's imperative that if you know somebody in Evanston, they should start asking questions, really, where are all these millions that they saved by it's dissolving the township? So that was something that came up, but the senator was cordial but totally unprepared. Then I wanna tell you, we've had FOIA requests and so they're about contracts and the latest one about salaries from NBC News, so hopefully we'll be able to answer that swiftly and it's on our website, but they want it to be done their way.
What are they
And then-
looking for?
All sorts of information about what everybody's making and any contracts we have. So it's pretty broad in that, and it's from the last few years, that's the only thing that I would say this made, I mean, it's going back to 2022. So
Are we able to see back lists of our salaries? Cause we've been posting them for a number of years now. Okay. So hopefully we can just grab those.
I should say, Gail, the last board's priority of, well, two board did, of prioritizing the communication has helped so much, because they really dropped out. I feel like Brian did say, have you visited our website, but you can't do that, they expect
There are mass FOIAs, right? So this is a mass FOIA.
Yeah, I'm sure one time.
We got one that went to every government asking for every.
Yeah,
not even-
go to the
Township
villages.
stuff, yeah.
They go everywhere,
Yeah.
government.
I don't take it personally.
It's
Yeah.
coming from NBC News,
Yeah.
Chicago, so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is that I had some interesting contact with residents, asking about election questions, not pertaining to the township, but to other races, and you know, the villages and the park district, and there's so many, so much fascination and interest, at least it was good to be able to get back to that person and help her. And so, that's my report, thank you.
Yeah, there was a lot of interest in, putting referenda on.
Yes.
So an esoteric part of the township code allows any residents to put a referendum on the ballot. If they gather, it's some very small amounts of signatures.
The thing I admire
It
is,
goes first to the town meeting, to the annual town meeting, then if the annual town meeting votes on it, it goes on the ballot.
the thing I admire, this group, they really want action, but they were so frustrated, they missed the deadline last time to both put it on the ballot and for the township, so they really wanna be on guard for the, which is not until 2026, so, you know, in November, you can't do it on a primary ballot because that's optional.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Jerome? Seeing none. Financial reports. James, I'm gonna make you the host.
I just emailed him the link, so he might log out and log back in so that he can share his screen.
Okay, I'm gonna see if it works or not.
Hey, everybody, I'm on my phone tonight, so I don't have
No worries.
the link, but I can, oh, wait, Larisha just sent it to me. Hold on one second.
Of course.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna come on the computer. Hold on.
Okay.
It's the same Zoom ID every time, but for some reason when him and Jan try to get on, sometimes it puts them back to like the December meeting from last year.
All right, now you're back. Okay, now I'll make you the host again.
Back.
Make host. All right.
All right, great. Hi, everybody. Okay, let me bring up the financials for the 3 months ended May 31. Let's walk through some revenue highlights. Again, 25% of the year gone by. You can see we received half of our tax money. That takes place in March. We know we might be under a little bit of a delay in terms of the second half of those taxes, which should come in August. But again, we don't have really a cash concern there. So you can see about 1.9 million to date. We're at 52%. Replacement taxes in at about 19,000. That's at 33% of that budget. That comes in 8 times a year from the state. That's the business tax. Interest still looks like an outperform. We're at about 26,000 collected. We budgeted 50. We're at 53%. The Fed is holding on rates as they digest the tariffs. So that's good news for us, as hopefully we'll continue to see rates right around 4%. Passport fees in at about 36%. So again, all of these above where we are in the year, that's good news. We're at about 2 million in total revenue. We budgeted 3.9, so we're at about 51% in total. As we look down the year-to-date expenditures, again, no agency or childcare yet. That's probably on the way. Transportation up just slightly at 27%. Some additional contractual services as we pay for like IT services up front in the year. That's at 43. Office supplies at 32. Again, these are small dollar amounts, so nothing real concerning. Some other at 50, and then building and town hall, again, typically building related here at about 49%. But all in, we still look very good. 448,000 spent. We're at 11% of the total budget. And then you can see down below here, if we look at town and GA, town is at 9% of the budget, 19% for GA. So both of those below where we are in the year. Nice
And just to
surplus
name
again.
agency programs, tomorrow is the agency first breakfast. So those numbers will be at a third. Similarly, childcare, I've just approved all the camps and they went out in the last week, so they just weren't on lists on the May numbers. Cause they were past that, so.
Yep, so yeah, we have a good surplus. Again, we're kind of top heavy as we start the year. All the tax money comes in early. But again, we've still got, 75% of the expenditures to go. So we're at about 1.5 million in surplus. We started with about 2.3. So we're about 3.8 million in ending fund balance, which typically equates to our cash position. As we go down into the distribution, taxes at 97%, replacement tax 1, passports 0.5, interest 1.3. And then as we look at the expenditure distribution, personnel at 25%, elected officials 2, Contractual services about 19, the assessor 4, building town hall expenses at 20, financial assistance 18, the pantry about 8%. Again, revenues over expenditures to start the year, as half of that tax money is in. And then as we kind of go down line by line, again, as discussed, we're gonna see some more of these expenditures hit next month. As we continue to work through the budget. And just to show you that reclass that we made for some of the website maintenance and civic clerk, again, both of those budgets spent early on in the fiscal year. Outside of that, I'm gonna take us to our cash report. Again, about 3.8 million in cash. I know we're looking to move some money to Illinois funds. We're in process, I would say, in terms of setting those accounts up. So again, about 3.8 million, and again, still getting, right around 2.5% with BMO, and then Schwab, those investment reports, you're gonna see probably 3 and 4%, so definitely better than the BMO returns. Outside of that, I'll leave up the report to approve for tonight, but I'd be happy to take any questions from the board.
So just for our new trustees, don't feel awkward asking about any of the random names of our vendors. We all did when we started because now we know the vendors. So happy to answer any questions. If something is whited out, it's kind of hard to tell that these are redactions. It would be really helpful if we wrote redacted. But it means that it's something confidential. We do not include the names of those we're giving financial aid to on the report. So if you do want to see the unredacted versions, those are available to you ahead of the meeting.
James, the BMO, is that you said 2%, is that a sweep account?
I believe we have a money market and a checking at BMO. So I don't think it acts as a sweep in that sense, no.
Okay. And how those are pretty liquid, those funds?
Yeah, extremely, yeah, we can pull that money at any time.
Okay.
The only question, oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, just a general question on the building / town hall expenses under expenditure. So is that all insurance, utilities, the typical building maintenance, or what does town hall expenses? I guess I don't understand that portion. If that's just dedicated to the town hall itself, should that be tracked separately from typical building expenses like utilities and insurance? I don't know. I'm just curious what that means, town hall expenses lumped into the building.
I just think it's the way it's been named personally. I don't think it's ever changed from the budget. I think they're calling it building / town hall. At least that's all I've ever known it to be on the budget. So I think it's more about changing it to.
Well, James, what do you sweep into that portion of the pie?
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
why I'd like to know what all goes into that category then.
Are you looking at page
Yeah,
9?
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it's,
Well, our page 4 also shows under expenditures, it shows it's just a category, building / town hall expenses.
So,
It's on
yeah.
page 4.
So if you turn a few more pages, it says both 7 of 9 or page 9 of 83.
Right.
Then you can kind of get a little bit
yeah.
more color on that it encompasses insurance, surety bonds.
Right, which is what I
utilities,
talked about.
building
What is
maintenance.
the town hall expense portion of that? That's why I don't, maybe.
The building, this is the town hall, right? So.
Oh,
I see. You were thinking
I'm
like a
thinking
meeting.
separate meetings or
Oh,
something.
no,
like,
it's
is
the
there a
building.
separate expense for?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just calling the building the town hall.
Yes.
So it's all lumped together.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And
That was
that's,
a little
that's
confusing.
just another esoteric thing from the town code too.
Got it. Okay.
So our townships are towns.
Yeah, still learning. So thank you, Jerome.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
appreciate
good
that.
question.
Okay. So that's all.
Any other weird questions for that we didn't give you a thesaurus or
Yeah,
like some
right.
sort of like dictionary on some of this.
I know, like town hall.
And we are getting you, that little book that you always see on my desk, the
Yeah.
little town hall, but they're updating it right now, so I don't wanna get you ones that are about to be, yeah, but you'll get your how to be a trustee book. All right. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. We're gonna go ahead and go to the approval of the claims. Trustee Moser,
I move to accept the town fund expenditures and general assistance expenditures for May 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2025, as reflected in the financials presented to the board on this, the 10th day of June, 2025.
Second.
All right, let's call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Cassava Valley.
Yes.
Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
Trustee Moyer.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes. Wonderful. And that's another thing that, just to kind of point through the various parts of the meeting. We have switched to a verification of claims format from approval of the, what do they used to call warrant or something like that. We have a policy that's on our website about what I can essentially pay ahead of time, and what I can't. Right, and then we approve them, by verifying, right? But it's make sure we don't get late fees.
Right, but you approve, when we approve everything you paid out already, plus what's still due. So that it's all taken care of
Exactly.
together.
Yep.
Got it, thank you.
Okay,
When's the next time that Ed, we're expecting Ed to join us?
It normally comes quarterly,
That's
so
right.
he was here in what,
Is it March?
was it March?
No, we're here more recently than that.
Or was it April?
I think April.
He normally comes every 3 months. He comes whenever we want him to,
Okay.
really, but he normally will reach out to me
Yeah, yeah.
and say when he's, when he can pop in.
Okay.
yes,
Sometimes he just can't make it, but I give him the schedule of our board meetings. And he will normally say, hey, I'm gonna pop into that one, so I put him on the agenda.
and have you heard from Jim?
No, and I text her and emailed her.
Okay,
So I'm sorry, who's Ed?
oh, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, you
So
have
if
to
you,
like,
if you look
pretend
at
we
the
don't
investment
think.
performance report,
oh, okay.
so, Ed Lavin is the CIO of our investment company
Got
that
it.
we
Okay.
put a
Thank
bunch
you.
of money with. And I'm just interested in his take on Moody's downgrading the US and what he thinks that,
Okay,
impact
got
should be or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
not, but.
Well, I mean,
No,
but I
he's,
mean,
he's really, he's great.
I mean, great in the
And
sense
it's
that,
great.
I'm
The
sorry, in the
downgrading
sense
is
that
not-
having him come here and talk to us is great, a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
idea, not what's
Yeah.
happening obviously out there.
I'm just kidding.
We're in line for the assessor's report. I'm not seeing Assessor Churchwell. Is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Public comment? Seeing none. We will move on to committee membership reappointment. We've provided you with a list of the current members of the committees. I have not heard any complaints about any of the current members for being in dereliction of duty, if anything. I've heard only fabulous things about all of our board advisory committee members. So I would like to make a motion to reappoint the advisory committee members who have been previously appointed by other boards.
So moved.
Discussion. Any discussion?
Two things, and I know this is, kind of jumping the shark here a little bit as to the next issue, but. I note that we're at 7, 6, and 7 members, for the, life stages, mental health and, disability oversight. And I'm wondering if we should try and even that out. I know that it's just one person, but, considering the numbers, that's a small.
Yeah. My intent is for Steve to do some recruiting over the summer
Okay.
ahead of the fall start,
Okay.
right? To get these up to I think max is 10,
Yeah.
to get them closer to that number
Okay.
each. So we will try to make a concerted effort.
Okay.
Yeah, but good, well taken.
Yeah.
She did specifically request one committee, so.
No, totally get it. Totally understand. I just don't want,
Yeah.
one committee to have, 8 people and another has 6 and it's, just,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we'll make use of the volunteer center as well. I run into Bridget everywhere. So, all right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. We've also been presented with a new application from Nan Weisham. She would like to be on the Life Stages Funding and Oversight Committee. Is there a motion to approve her participation on Life Stages
So
Funding?
moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Yet again, eminently qualified civil servant.
Did she just join us the other day at the breakfast too?
She did,
She's just jumping in with both feet on.
exactly. As a Glencoe Public Library
Yep.
trustee.
Mhm.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Thought I recognized.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is kind of confusing. We do need to appoint our FOIA and OMA officers pursuant to those statutes. Traditionally, New Trier Township has appointed our township clerk to be FOIA and OMA officer. That involves additional trainings and then responding to both FOIA requests and complaints about OMA. I'd like to move that we appoint Jerome Coynes, our clerk, as the FOIA and OMA officer.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you for
Seeing
doing that.
none. Great, we're
It's
in.
a thankless job.
Yeah. And the legislative update is the legislature is over and I gave you the big one, which is that we received our fund. So I'm so excited for that. We received, governor's sign, which we used to be will. All right, board liaison assignments. So we traditionally have a trustee, assigned to each of our advisory committees, be our eyes and ears, and participate in that process, and then to be able to really delve deeply into one third of our agencies. So we are asking, that Kate would be appointed to Disability Support Committee. Mark is appointed to Mental Health Committee. Trustee Moser going to Life Stages. And Jessica, Trustee Tucker, has a special assignment to review the peer jury program and make recommendations for improvement.
I have a query.
Yes.
I was on Live Stages the last time.
I
would
keep
do it
down
again.
Life Stages.
There's some life stages.
Well, I meant, I've one before now,
What do you want to do?
the one before now.
Yeah, but what do you want to do?
Oh, I don't care, I just point that out if you wanna throw me somewhere else.
At some point in the 4 years, you're getting everything, so.
Done them all already.
You're gonna do it again.
Hit that reset button, you're up.
Yeah, you're up. We're teeing you up on that one. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay, that's-
yeah, and we'll change it up again next year.
Real
Alright.
expertise and knowledge, history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe we need any motion for that. That is my prerogative. We have received staff reports from our staff members. Does anyone want to take anything from the staff reports for discussion?
Me,
Please,
with respect to Larisha's report, I am interested in the One Winnetka project. And if it's had an impact thus far on pantry visits, our clients being put out because they can't find parking, anything like that, that we need to address or think about. I know, hot mess, right? Is there anything that we can do, could do, should do, look into?
So I followed up with the village, they said that at this time, they're not making any parking, accommodations. But Gail has been doing this for like 3 years now, because regardless of whether that project is across the street, we really do need a delegated pantry spot.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of people who have issues walking and everything else.
That's not a disabled parking
That's
space.
not- yeah.
That's right there, but.
Yeah.
We do, which would took a while. but
Yeah,
yes,
so, since they scaled the street back a little bit,
Yeah.
we don't have two handicapped, we only have that one. They said, that at this time, they're not considering it. So what people are having to do is park in A, and then we're all the way down by the Village Green now, the employees. So, it's still a trek for people.
Yeah.
So some people are bringing their stuff to the door, or we're like bringing it out, and then they're pulling the car up. Whenever available. It is a struggle bus, and I do feel like that project is gonna be going on for a long time, so it's gonna continue to be a problem.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's even an issue for the staff. We're being kicked out of that staff parking lot
Right.
now.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's worth exploring, doing, virtual shopping or, prepackaged in the same way that we do the prepackaged produce bags, having, some kind, I know that, choice is a huge thing and it's a great thing that we're able to bring, but it may be worth it to just be able to say, give us a ring when you're here, we'll run it out to your car, just to, try and alleviate some of that stress from people.
Interesting.
So it's worth thinking about, and maybe, Arnold might, and he's so innovative with this, it may be worth, just kind of bringing it up to him and say, is there something that he thinks might be, kind of, what might work for this?
Yeah.
The other question that I had was with respect to, the inspection issues, were they both related to the fire, prevention stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
to the sprinkler
Oh,
system,
okay.
so, it takes a while for us to get in with Chicago Metropolitan Fire Protection. Because obviously they do projects in the city as well, but we're getting a little bit closer, I think our sprinklers were off from when we had the fire, there's a lot of sprinkler points in this building. So, the village doesn't ever tell me when they're coming here, they just randomly pop up and then they say, hey, you passed or failed. I'm like, great, so, it would be good, I try to get them running at the same time so that they can be here and answer each other's questions. So, I put out another email to Chicago Metropolitan Fire Protection to come back and fix those points. So the next time, then we can just pass completely.
Awesome. Sorry, Stuart. And then in Jean's, report, I was interested in if the survey that went to the township residents about the community support grants, has that been provided to the person who's doing strategic planning? Somebody know?
I don't know, but it's a good thing to provide her.
That would be something we should do. And then,
I don't know.
at the end of her report, there's a table from 2024. There are asterisks, but it doesn't indicate what the asterisk means.
Yeah.
So it would be a good thing for us to know because our villages have some asterisks. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, she marks which ones are ours, or, oh, Keller does. Okay.
So there's one at Glencoe after 31
Yep.
for the partial benefits. Or I'm sorry, is that seniors? I think that's the seniors line. And then there's one in Kenilworth. And then I think that's it
Got it.
for ours, but I just, it's a table that's helpful only in that I see numbers, but I don't know what the asterisk means.
Good, good point.
For Melanie's, it's just kind of an overall comment.
Mhm.
I feel like her reports could use a little bit of fleshing out. I feel like how were things received? How did they go? Would she recommend doing this again? That kind of thing. So, we hosted a children's clothing drive. Did anything come in?
Yeah, how was it successful?
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then with respect to the farmer's market on the 26th, does she need any help with this?
Yes, if
will
she
we-
hasn't already, I've asked her to ask
Okay.
the trustees to
Alright.
grab a spot. Yep. Yep. It'll be fun. You should have also received an email about, the 4th of July parade as well. Highly recommend, it's very fun. Good to get your steps in. But if we don't have 2 trustees for each, we'll be able to do them, so. And I know you're doing
I'm
that,
doing Winnetka
Yeah.
with my kids and.
exactly. And I just bought a bubble machine, like one of those handheld ones.
I will have to buy another because they will find.
Best $15
Yeah.
ever.
Easy.
Anyway.
And then tomorrow, if somebody could tag Steve to ask for more people, or more of the agencies to do butterfly related stuff.
More better.
We will take
Yeah.
all of the pictures, we will push them on the social media. I love it.
Absolutely. recognize that their garden is a
Yeah.
waste station.
Yeah.
So maybe if we had them take a picture by that, we can add that.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're gonna be doing an event there. Okay, and yeah.
Sorry, last, with respect to Arnold's report. I think he's just knocking it out of the park. I think there's a lot here and he's doing a lot going on. With respect at the very bottom of, the page with respect to the Winnetka library branch, the micro pantry.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if we could ask the library district to somehow indicate on their website or through their materials that people can drop things off there. That, it's not just, obviously take what you need, but like, that's a good place to drop things off.
Yes.
Because I feel like especially over the summer, it's gonna get a lot of, foot traffic and that might be a helpful thing. That's all I have.
Might alleviate too the demand here with the parking situation, that maybe if they feel like they could go to another location.
It is
Might be
quite
easier.
small, though. It really is meant
Is
to
it
be
really
like,
tiny? I haven't seen it.
I'm hungry now,
Oh.
right?
So it really can't supplement.
Yeah,
It's like a small cabinet.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
yeah, yeah, so it's more, we've seen across the country, library's been used as kind of a refuge,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
respite too,
So
so.
it's just
Yeah,
kind of.
And then to remind people that we're here, and then if we come up.
Yeah.
But yes, we should take a look at the parking situation.
Well, I like trustee McNally's suggestion on, maybe, going all back to almost how COVID was, where because of the parking situation that we're now going
Are
to
you
see
seeing
for the
anything
next
about
couple
that?
years, where they could request and have it ready to go and have them
Yeah.
just zip
Yeah.
up, get it in their car and zip away, and that might help.
So people are complaining about the parking, but I do think, people, they get over it because they can choose their own groceries.
Yeah, I
Um,
know, it's.
But the
tough.
people who are like on walkers and stuff like that, we normally like help them to their cars, if they can grab that handicap spot in the front. Because on Fridays, our place normally grabs that handicap spot because Frank is on the walker, so it's like. If you don't get the luck of the draw coming in, we're willing to do whatever we have to do to, help people get to their cars, but now we have fresh market bag, meat, the full blue bag, your paper goods and your produce, so there's 5 things you're taking out of here if you take everything.
Yeah.
So,
You have a shopping cart?
so Arnold and I did discuss a shopping cart yesterday because Northfield, he went to Northfield yesterday. And Northfield has it that you have like the small shopping cart and then, when they check out, there's nothing that you have to like undo the bag. Because Arnold checks the bags when people leave. So there they have a volunteer, the pantry manager looks at everything in the cart and then the volunteer packs it, get your stuff and then you go. That's basically like their model there. So that you don't have to go through, because the blue bags are obviously not see-through, so Arnold has to look in it, he's been doing a good job at cutting down and people like abusing, taking so much stuff in the pantry.
Yeah.
And people are used to it now,
Yeah.
but, we were actually just discussing like the shopping cart situation yesterday.
Interesting.
I have a comment on the survey that was conducted with regard to the community grants.
Yes.
I was around with the inception of community grants, and I insisted at the time that it not be economically based, and it never has been.
Right.
But I note from the statistics that the largest number of recipients are from very high income. And I'm not critical of that at all, but I'm wondering if there's a way to get people with lesser incomes somehow more involved and more aware, or is it because higher income people are more sophisticated and therefore they're able to fill out applications better? But I find it curious that by far and away, the largest recipients are in $100,000 plus income bracket.
So a couple of points, obviously, we're doing this survey just because we want to see if we did have to do means testing and limit it to, similarly to, 300% of the federal poverty rate, what would the impact be, right? This survey was not perfect in any way. So it, 98 out of 252, responded. So we're only at 39% response rate. So I'm thinking we're gonna need to do it again as a part of this year's application process.
Mhm.
And just say, we're, as a part of the application, you need to fill out your income. It's not gonna impact anything right now. We just wanna see, what's going on, because we're not there yet, but if we needed to, we need to have that data, right? But yes, it could be partially about the sophistication. I know that there's a lot of word of mouth between the special education moms that goes on, right? So that would be kind of income neutral because that's, through the schools. Now that we have presumptive retained eligibility for people who have permanent disabilities, hopefully it'll be easier to apply, but you still have to do it the first time. Right, we've decided, if you have a permanent disability, you don't have to keep on getting a doctor to tell us you have a permanent disability. So, so it should be a lot less onerous, but I'm hearing that, and now we're online, so it is quicker, because you just have to come here and bring it. Yeah. All right. But it was interesting results, I agree. Any other questions or comments based on these reports?
I just have a quick comment on Gene Russer's report. I love page 70. My understanding is New Trier Township is a sponsor to the senior project at New Trier High School.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. That's what I was understanding from reading it, and I think that's just terrific. So, thank you.
I think this was our
For doing
first year doing it, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, good. I'm glad it was a good experience, and I hope that continues. I think that's just terrific for everyone, particularly obviously the students involved, so
Absolutely.
thank you for that.
I tried to go see her project and, they do like a presentation.
Yeah.
And I went around twice. I could not find a parking spot.
Yeah.
So thankfully Jean was there,
Popular,
but
very busy, but.
I am not excited for that drop off in a few years. Holy moly. I had anxiety from just trying. Any additional comments or questions on their board reports? Seeing none, any new business? Seeing none, any old business?
I have a question.
Yes.
I was on special projects last year and I came up with the idea of incorporating teens into the township.
Yes,
And where do we want to go with that?
yeah,
And I don't know if that was simple vote of the board as whether you want to do it in terms of committee kind of structure, or if you'd rather do it as ad hoc members of the board. So whatever makes sense, I'm happy to facilitate, but I didn't want to leave it.
that's
Open-ended.
perfect use of the continuing business. Personally, I like the idea of having a ex officio youth member of each of the advisory committees, rather than having them here. This is, a little bit more financial.
Okay,
I think there'll be a lot of interest out of the various agencies from my conversations with high schoolers.
which put one on each committee, on each,
Yeah,
okay?
which I know my village did when I was growing up.
Well, it used to be a real resume builder for some kids.
Yeah.
I know that's why they did it. All right, given that thought, how do we proceed? Do we just do a vote of the board and go?
It has to be put on for consideration. I can't have it voted on today, but
Okay,
it will be on our next board meeting agenda.
okay,
And then we can recruit over the summer.
but I won't be here for the next board.
Right, and now we have to figure out a next board meeting. Because I do not think we will have a quorum, which is a good reason to switch it. So let's take a look at July. Would I have a quorum on the 15th?
Rob,
So you probably,
Right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I might not be back.
I need 3 to say yes.
I'm here.
Mark, are you here on the 15th?
Checking right now.
Are you available
Jared,
on the 15th?
Yeah.
I'm probably available.
I'm tentative, right now.
Legally, I don't have to be here.
It's not a bad date, I just have to move something. I'm tentative.
Okay, let me just do. If we did the 22nd. Would that be better?
I'm good.
I can do that.
22nd is good.
All right, then let's go ahead and do the 22nd.
Hopefully.
So we do need to just notice that.
Okay.
As it is a change from our current, so there's some stuff we have to do.
Okay.
And I have to figure out how to change it on my calendar. Right. Wonderful. Seeing as there are no additional business, is there a
I'm sorry, if you could consider the minutes, it's such a short meeting. I
No.
found 2 corrections, no, okay, I found 2 corrections, I'm beating you at the pad.
Great, can you make the
I thought-
corrections and upload it for
Yes,
consideration at the
yes,
next meeting?
Yes, that was the one.
much appreciated. We're giving you plenty of time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Got it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, goodbye.
But-
So I just think the
Great.
first meeting.
But we